It's Chad Valuted here, bringing you a Borderlands 3 build video. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan of Moze. So it should come as no surprise to you that my first build video is going to be for Moze. Now, I'm focusing this video on the Iron Bear only style of play. We've got railguns loaded up in this build, and that's pretty much, right now, the only thing that I would use if I were going to play an Iron Bear Only Moze. Part of the reason is the Splinter Rail Guns. Man, they do a lot of damage. I mean, as you can see in the video right now, especially if you get close to your target when you hit them, they just melt. I don't know why that is. I'll leave that to someone far smarter than me to figure out why when the railguns bounce off of you, they do more damage. Anyway, back to the build. The cool thing about this build, it's really gear independent. You could literally build this in almost completely all white items, and you'd be fine. You could go kill Guardian Takedown with Iron Bear and have nothing but white items on. I don't recommend it, because there are some really cool items that are going to add some value to this build, but you could do it. So, what kind of gear are we talking here? Well, for your gun, you're definitely going to want to get a gun that's got the Iron Bear Railgun damage increase anointment. Really, any gun is going to do. Things like the Unforgiven or whatnot, they don't work. They don't pass over to Iron Bear. Now, I did find one gun that does. It doesn't work great, but it does pass over its effect to Iron Bear. That gun is also out of DLC 5. It's the Boogeyman. That's right. The Boogeyman skulls can spawn when Iron Bear kills things. They're not smart. They don't move well. They don't track enemies great. Sometimes they'll come back at Iron Bear, but they do work, and occasionally it is more damage. So, for a shield, the best shield that you can get is going to be any shield that has the 20% action skill cooldown anointment on it. You could also get the kills increase Iron Bear's cooldown by 30% anoint. It's not as good. The build that you're seeing here in the video is using that style of shield. I did not realize until after I had already recorded the footage that the 20% would be better because it's not kill dependent. For a grenade, you're going to want to get one of the grenades that has the chance to spawn a grenade when Iron Bear takes damage. The best grenades are going to be Atlas grenades. I personally think that a Hex is the best at this. A Radiation Hex does great work for you. A Cryo Hex could do some crowd control for you. A Shock one, maybe if you have a Recurring or a Mervtacular, that could do some work on shields or also in the Guardian Takedown. But all in all, your best bet is going to be some sort of Hex or a tracker of some sort. For fun, you could throw on a Quasar, Atlas branded, and do some really funny things throwing enemies around. Now, I will tell you, if you decide to do that, don't do that in the Maliwan takedown to Wotan. When Wotan splits and Wotan's better half takes flying, if a Quasar hits him, well, it's gonna break the encounter. You're not gonna get loot. It's gonna suck. You're gonna be mad because you just wasted, I don't know, somewhere between 4 to 20 minutes, depending on your skill set, fighting to get to a boss, and then you don't get loot. Now, if you are mobbing, and this is specifically for mobbing, it's not great during a boss fight, but if you are mobbing, a Vladoff branded Rain Firestorm with the 20% Iron Bear damage taken anoint will help keep Iron Bear going with this build. In the purple tree, you can spec into, if you imply status effects or ignite enemies, don't use fuel, you don't have to worry about Iron Bear going away so fast is what I'm trying to get at here. A Rain Firestorm by Vladoff specifically will help you with that. As far as artifacts, I use a Snowdrift White Elephant. I do that because I don't like to walk, so I zoom around with the Snowdrift whenever humanly possible. And the White Elephant does help with your Iron Bear melee attacks. Now, I will tell you, speaking of melee attacks, one of the problems that this build has is in the Maliwan Takedown with those big, stupid storm chuckers. You'll want to melee those guys, get them to kind of stagger back, and you want to double shoot them with the rail guns in the crit spot, and that'll take care of them. Sometimes that white elephant comes in handy there. You could use an elemental projector, you could use a couple other different things, and it'll get the job done. Artifact is really going to end up being about the stats on the artifact. You're going to be looking for shock damage. You're going to be looking for area of effect damage. You're going to be looking for action skill cooldown rate. Those are going to be the 3 best things you could get on an artifact. You don't have to have those on an artifact to get started on this build. That's completely independent of what you need. Now, for a class mod, there are 4 different class mods you could use. The best of those class mods is going to be the Raging Bear. It's going to keep you going the longest. It's going to do the most damage. If you get one that has action skill damage on it, you are going to just melt things. If you don't have a Raging Bear, you could go with a Flame out of DLC 5. It's a good solid option. It's not as good as the Raging Bear. It does have some limitations when compared to the other ones, but if you get one that has action skill damage on it, it's gonna do work for you. It's gonna be really good. The other option that you've got is the Flare. Now, I would only tell you to use the Flare for bossing. That's out of DLC 4 Psycho Krieg, because your damage is going to only be amazing when you have the most time left on Iron Bear. You could also go with the old standby, the Bear Trooper. Now, the Bear Trooper is a good solid class mod. It's not amazing at any one thing, but it is going to keep you out comparable to the Raging Bear. It is going to do good work for you if you get that thing to have action skill damage on it. It's going to do a lot of work for you. It's just not as good as the other 3. I would say it does come in higher than the Flare for mobbing, and that's it. So, with all that being said, as you've seen in this video, you could go with this build with very low gear, with not like perfect gear, and you're going to be able to clear Maliwan Takedown. You're going to be able to do Guardian Takedown. You're going to be able to do any of the trials that you want to do. You're going to be able to do any of the slaughters. This build can do all the content, and it doesn't need a ton of gear to get going. Thanks for watching. I'm Chad Valuted, and I will probably catch you again soon.